All right, hello everyone. This is a recording for Chapter 21 for Introduction to Health Professions. We're going to talk about social workers. So I'll get right into the PowerPoint presentation. Make sure I share my screen with you all. Okay, so again, Chapter 21. Talks about social workers, and this is a growing profession, and this is one that is that's a positive for the field, but it's probably a reflection of some of the things that are going on um, in our culture, in our society, in terms of the needs for these individuals, and I think there's a lot of recognition of what they provide. So we're gonna talk about that quite a bit. So in terms of the overall description, I'll move myself out of the way here. Um, so social work is um, it's often focused on the impact of individuals um, and their surroundings and how that's impacting their overall well-being. So those of you that have taken health promotion, or you will take health promotion, we talk about the fact that a person's health is often determined by their social and cultural surroundings, their environment, other things like that. And the social worker is responsible for taking care of an individual's overall well-being. And again, a lot of that involves what is their social environment, what is going on around them, and some of those dimensions of health. Um, in many cases, social workers are focused on families and children, and trying to basically bridge the gap between those people and the services that they need. So they may be bridging the gap between, a child and some type of food service. They may be bridging a gap between a child and a family, and the educational system. So um, they are they are the bridge. Okay, so they coordinate services to address needs. There's a lot of settings where they can work. The most common ones that we'll see are government settings, schools, hospitals, but they can work in a lot of different places. They can work for private organizations, and that's not uncommon. They can specialize, as we've seen with many other professions. They can work with seniors, they can work with children, they can focus on low income populations, they can um, focus on education, other things like that. So it really just depends. As far as some other points I want to make here, um, social workers could do research. They could, again, be involved in a specific population. No matter what, they have to be licensed. And so we've seen in this course certification, we've seen licensure, we've seen registration. A social worker is licensed, and they are what you see there in the third bullet point, an LCSW. They have to be a licensed clinical social worker. Every state mandates that. Okay. There is a YouTube video. I'll let you watch that on your own time. It's about 8 minutes. It goes through a social worker in a private school and what she does on a daily basis. It's a nice overview. She does talk about her income, and I think that's a little bit unusual. She's about double what a typical social worker makes. So don't let that throw you off in terms of what you can expect with this particular group. As far as some of the specialties within this, again, most of the specialties involve working with children and families. What we will see as we go through this overview is the uptick in the number of individuals working in healthcare settings. So you see a lot that are hospital based. And so, to give you an example, if a child comes in and has fallen or has severe injuries, the healthcare organization might bring in a social worker to get a better sense of what's going on in that child's life, where either it could be they're being abused, could be that they're being neglected. So the social worker, being in a hospital setting, might be able to intervene more easily than if they had to go out into that child's home. But again, you see the variety of different work that a social worker potentially could do. In terms of the work environment, there's certainly office work that goes on here, but it's going to be a lot of travel. So people are going to be visiting people in their homes. They're going to be going to meetings. They're going to be in local communities. So a lot of driving around. It's stressful work, and especially it's the type of work where you're probably seeing a lot of things that are very challenging to see. You're handling a lot of situations that are unstable. You might be dealing with situations where people are using and abusing substances, and so that can get very challenging. So some office work, a lot of travel, and a lot of stress. As far as employment opportunities, big uptick in terms of the number of social workers that are involved here. Over 700,000 now, and you can see the big change from 2014. So what looks like over 50,000 jobs added in only a 4-year period. Again, that's probably the result of social problems. It's also the result of a lot of people understanding what social workers do and the benefits that they can provide to communities, to healthcare organizations. And so along with an increased need, there's a more recognition of the job as a whole. Um, Again, most of this is focused on children, family, schools. There is an increasing percentage that are in the healthcare setting. And again, a lot of mental health issues. We're going to talk about that when we get into psychologists and psychiatrists. Um, the increase in mental health issues has increased the need for social workers, and the increases in substance abuse has also caused that. Most of these individuals are going to be in more high population areas. There is some need in rural areas, but social workers are mostly concentrated in cities and suburbs. As far as education and licensure, we already mentioned you have to be licensed, and so that's pretty straightforward. Many will have, or all will have the bachelor's degree or the BSW, and they have to have that supervised field experience. Many are getting to a point where you have to have a master's degree to be in this field, especially those in school or clinical settings, which is probably over 75% of these jobs. So you have to have a master's degree, and that's a lot more supervised instruction. As you can tell, it's about a 5 to 6 month internship. There are several programs in the United States, baccalaureate, 238 master's degrees, again, which is becoming the standard, and those are increasing in popularity. There's a online master's degree through the University of Southern California, or USC, that is very popular, has been around for about 10 years. There's actually doctoral programs in social work. Most of those traditionally have been PhDs, but now we actually have what's referred to as a DSW, or a Doctor of Social Work degree. And so this may eventually get to a point where school and clinical settings are going to require at least the DSW in order to be there. Again, licensure is the standard. There may be some certification or registration, but that varies by state. As far as other qualifications, obviously, given the work and the things that these people see, got to be emotionally stable. They've got to be able to move on. They've got to be able to remain objective and not get emotionally involved. They've got to be able to have a varied skill set. They might be working with a large group in one situation, working in a community setting, and then the next hour they're working one-on-one with a child, trying to figure out what's going on with them. And so the skill set is varied. Okay, and they're going to work with a variety of health professionals, doctors, nurses, counselors, other things like that. As far as advancement, again, the education really is the key here. More educated individuals are going to be the ones that are going to get more opportunities. They could be in supervisory situations. They could manage programs. They could actually do some counseling. So those that know Yvonne Jones, who just recently left Piedmont, she was actually had a social work background and did counseling. And so there are a variety of different things that these individuals could get involved in. Again, more education and more experience means more opportunity. As far as employment trends, as we saw, this is increasing in terms of percentages. So 11% increase from 2018 to 2028. We did see a little bit of a slowdown in 2014 to 2024. Again, a lot of this has to do with budget restrictions, a lack of awareness of what these individuals can do. But it's on the upswing again, like we saw from 2008 to 2018. And again, this is a reflection of not only the recognition of these individuals, but it's a reflection of some of the societal problems that we're experiencing. The most significant growth will be in healthcare and with mental health and substance abuse. And through 2024, there's a a big spike for these. As far as earnings, this definitely doesn't reflect not only the expectations of these individuals, but also the education. So those that end up getting a master's degree and not even making $50,000 a year, that's a tough trade-off. So these individuals have to love what they do, clearly, and they have to be willing to deal with the fact that they're not going to make a lot of money. Okay, so it is on the upswing. So we're seeing, about $10,000 added to the average wage in a 10-year period. But again, hopefully this increases in terms of the amount of money people are making on average per year. There is a significant range. Again, the YouTube video I'm showing you, she's making double what you see even at the top end of that range. So there can be, based on the setting, an opportunity to make quite a bit more money, but that's pretty unusual, as you can tell, based on the average. Okay, so that covers chapter 21. I know that was quick. I'm going to make these as fast as possible, and so that you can go through and pause and do your own thing as we work through these videos. Again, we'll save the class time for our Q&As and our discussions. All right, see ya.